When we take a look at our business news, Zimbabwe lines up more incentives for local and foreign investors.
And later in sport, Jordan Zamora likely to miss the Four Nations Invitational Tournament in Botswana after a hamstring injury. Experts say the recent ban of raw mineral exports highlights a strategic shift towards enhanced resource governance, which emphasizes industrial development over traditional commodity extraction.
The recent export restriction by governments on raw materials and lithium concentrates has been described as a major step highlighting strong commitment to domestic value addition strategies. Now, in this venture, Zimbabwe is not peculiar to this position. Indonesia undertook a similar venture by ensuring that it derives maximum value from its nickel commodity. Zimbabwe could potentially boost its export earnings through enhanced value addition. The mining industry is a central pillar to national development, accounting for 70% of the total export earnings. The stance by government to enhance the value addition of commodities is therefore viewed as a calculated effort to marry economic growth and mineral wealth.
According to the Chamber of Mines, out of the total order bill in Zimbabwe, despite the fact that 80% of what we export is minerals, we only retain in this country 12% as what is manufactured here. We need to rise that. The National Industrial Policy says we need to grow it to $1 billion. Right now, in terms of beneficiated manufacturing from mining, it's less than $200 million in the country. Africa is a market, and these commodities are not found everywhere. After the ban, prices in China went up 6% literally the next day, which means Zimbabwe matters. So we're competitive in that space.
Across the African continent, the conversation now is for nations to move away from being global suppliers to becoming global negotiators. Botswana is a perfect example of this through its diamond cutting and polishing industry. The Zimbabwe Miners Federation, ZMF, looks at the expected benefits from the recent export restriction policy.
This process was long overdue. Government has taken a bold move given the fact that Zimbabwe has a rich mineral resource base. And for Zimbabwe, the opportunity to maximize on the true value of its products is only reflective because due to this exercise. The position assumed by government is reflective to the trajectory across Africa, where nations are benchmarking industrial transformation through resource beneficiation and reducing dependence on raw material exports to develop our economy. This is a shift from being a global supplier to a global negotiator, and as such, processed minerals command significantly higher prices.
Through this export restriction on raw materials, the expectation is that there will be rapid revenue optimization, which could be anywhere between 3 times or 5-fold. President Emmerson Mnangagwa is on record emphasizing that value addition is the way to go.
Dependence on raw exports is no longer sustainable nor desirable. We must earn more from every ton, every kilogram, and every product we export. The situation where jobs, value, and industrial opportunities are lost is untenable. The value must be created locally and domesticated here in our factories, in our processing plants, innovation hubs, and within communities. In the mining sector, our policy is unequivocal. Zimbabwe is no longer satisfied with being a supplier of raw materials. Under my administration, focus is on local processing, diversifying downstream industries, technology transfer, and stronger linkages across the economy.
Beneficiation therefore becomes a critical tenet in terms of economic development. unlocking gains in revenue and employment creation. Theophilus Humas, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga says accelerating infrastructure development, industrial growth and energy generation remains critical in driving the country's economic transformation.
Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga started his visit by touring Simbi Steelmakers, one of the country's growing steel manufacturers, producing products used in the construction and other sectors of the economy. The tour comes at a time when the country is intensifying efforts to promote value addition and support manufacturing industry.
We now need a plan. The export of the sponge iron that they've been doing, we are agreed with them that within 2 years it will be done. Some of the equipment is already here now, that they are now going to install new plants and they will process it. And furthermore, what they have been exporting will now be localized.
Officials from steelmakers say the company's production continues to increase in line with the government's vision of increasing domestic production.
Presently, we are producing 100 tons per day sponge iron, and in future we are planning to expand the sponge iron capacity up to 600 tons per day. Then we are setting up a steel plant to consume all the sponge iron what we are producing here and locally only, and our steel plant capacity will be about 300,000 tons per annum.
From Simbi Steelmakers, the Vice President proceeded to tour construction works at the Mashingo Min interchange along the Harare-Mashingo Bade Bridge Road. The project, which comprises 4 bridges, is expected to ease traffic congestion in the city once completed and improve the flow of traffic along the busy highway. Vice President Chiwenga also visited the newly established Great Zimbabwe Hydropower Plant, which is currently producing 5 megawatts, feeding into the national grid, a development that has seen increased availability of electricity in Mashingo.
This gives us now that motivation to look at all our dams, which Engineer Malawa, who is in charge of these projects at the office of the President Cabinet, will be working with Zinwa.
Panapa operations dzedu dzinoita 24/7 365 depending nekuti mvura inenge yakawanda sei mu reservoir redu rinowairo Lake Ntiripi. Saka kana mvura yakawanda sezvakaitawo season ya 2024-2025 season takakwanisa kugenerata magetsi kwegore rese.
Through the developments implemented by the Second Republic, Mashingo province is confident of achieving its targeted $8 billion United States dollar economy by 2030.
We really appreciate the familiarization tour by the Vice President looking into the economic projects, flagship projects in the province. As a province, we are targeting USD 8 billion economy.
All these development projects toured today are steps towards attainment of Vision 2013. Ms. Matina, ZBC News, Mashingo.
Respected lawyer and former co-chairperson of the Constitution Parliamentary Committee COPAC, which drafted the 2013 Constitution, Comrade Munyaradzi Paul Mangwana, says that there is no referendum that is required for the Constitutional Amendment No. 3 bill.
Briefing journalists in the capital, ZANU-PF Secretary for Mines and Energy, Comrade Paul Mangwana, weighed in on the Constitutional Amendment Bill. Comrade Mangwana played a critical role in the crafting of the 2013 Constitution.
There are only 3 provisions in this Constitution which require a referendum for an amendment. The Bill of Rights is one of those provisions. The land provisions cannot be amended without a referendum. Any other provision of this Constitution can be amended through a 2/3 majority of Parliament. And we were very clear when we wrote this Constitution to say which areas do we want protected from amendment by Parliament. So when a law specifies areas which are preserved for amendment, it means that any other parts of the Constitution which have not been protected can be amended by Parliament using 2/3 majority. And from my reading, the proposed amendments do not require a referendum.
Comrade Mangwana further highlighted the importance for the citizens to understand the clauses within the Constitutional Amendment number 3 Bill regarding the term extension.
Any period below 3 years is not considered to be a term. So the current amendment is extending by 2 years, which falls short of 3 years. So if there is an extension by 2 years, in terms of the Constitution, it's not a term. So the proposed amendment seeks to extend by 2 years, which falls short of a term. So he is not benefiting from an extension of a term, because a term is 3 years.
ZANU-PF Secretary for Information and Publicity, Ambassador Christopher Mtsangwa, stated that opposition political party members are overstating their involvement in the crafting of the 2013 Constitution.
On the global stage, the issue of term limits for president varies country by country. Some are 5 years, but others, like Italy, 7 years, because they feel that the president needs to be given enough time to carry out the mandate which he may have got from the electorate, so that he can have sufficient time to execute all the policies and deliver on the programs. Constitutions, as he has indicated, they are live documents. They are subject to the wishes of the people at a certain stage of the development of their country. People cannot be manacled to a constitution if they feel that certain amendments can be made. So be it. And that's what exactly ZANU-PF is doing.
The Constitutional Amendment number 3 Bill was passed by Cabinet on the 10th of February and was gazetted by Parliament on the 16th of February. The bill seeks to extend the presidential term as well as the parliamentary term from 5 years to 7 years. Among other provisions, the bill will take away the voters' roll from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to the Registrar General's office. The setting up of the Zimbabwe Delimitation Commission will also come into effect. Bruce Jawanda, SABC News, Harare.
In other news, a large consignment of tractors, combine harvesters and hay balers has arrived from Belarus under the third phase of the Zimbabwe-Belarus mechanization program. We get that report from Tendai Munengwa.
The Zimbabwe-Belarus mechanization program continues to gather momentum, and as you can see here, over 300 tractors and 62 combine harvesters have so far arrived under the third phase of this program, well ahead of the harvesting period of maize and the winter wheat crop for this season.
We are expecting in total more than 3,000 tractors and 80 combine harvesters, complemented by hay balers as well as mowers in the third phase. This is actually meant to also, support and give impetus to the livestock sector, which we are also as government targeting to make sure that we also improve production and productivity.
In terms of skills transfer, Bison Company has set up service centers in various parts of the country, and the engineers from Belarus are here, and as you can see, they have started training operators who will be using these tractors and combine harvesters.
We have invited the engineers from the factories who produce this equipment to transfer their knowledge, and we are sure that it will also create new employment.
Tikasvika kuprovince takukwanisa kunopawo ruzivo kunovasara ikoko tichivatrainawo.
veBelarus dai varamba vakadaro kuti vagone vachitiramba vachiti vandudza njere dzedu.
Over 1,800 tractors and 76 combine harvesters secured under the Zimbabwe-Belarus mechanization program are currently working in various parts of the country in a move that boosted the yields for farmers from between 1 to 3 tons per hectare up to 5 to 8 tons, even 10 tons per hectare. Tendai Munengwa, ZBC News, Harare.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, has consoled the Chiringa family after the death of Harare Metropolitan Permanent Secretary for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Mr. Cosmas Chiringa.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, this Wednesday visited the Chiringa residents to commiserate with them following the death of the Permanent Secretary for Harare Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Mr. Cosmas Chiringa, who succumbed to heart failure on the 9th of this month. Delivering words of comfort to the family, Dr. Mnangagwa, who worked with the late Mr. Chiringa in her programs, described the late as a humble and result-oriented person who was dedicated to his work. In her condolence messages, the First Lady also rallied the family to remain united, prayerful, and supportive of each other. The First Lady said, as a mother, she came first as problems that before families affect mothers the most. She added that her husband, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, heard about this and they discussed the issue, but as a mother, she rushed to understand. She also highlighted that she would tell President Mnangagwa how one of his officers passed on, as narrated by his daughter.
Vasikana ndine urombo zvikuru. Isu tangashinya kushanda nababa vachiringa. Tarasikirwa zvakanyanya. Vangu vari baba vane unyoro. Vachiringa vangu vasina shoko rokukanana kana rokutarwizha. Mafambira ndakaita nawo ese. Baba vanga vachiti kana ukasvika uremerwe kuti ndakutaura chii vanozvibvuma here vachati kudini. Unongosvika nenyaya yako muchitoshanda zvakanaka. Tarasikirwa semhuri yemuHarare, tarasikirwa senyika. Vangu vari baba vemazano, seneta Tavengwa, vangu vane mhuri yavo yekuti ivo vachibatana uku. Kazhinji pavanenge vasipo, ndinobata nemhuri yavo iyoyo, vari baba vachiringa nevasikana vavo ndichishanda navo. Waiona kuti pane chaungosvora kuti hachina kuzoitwa, pakuti ministers vavasipo, kuda paita kagwanza, vanga vachibata basa ravo. Rufu, imbavha. Tabirwa munhu chakatarisa Cosmas Chiringa zvinomu hatiperekedze imwe wedu tichikudza Mwari kuti aiwa Mwari kuda kwenyu tazviona vafambe naye zvakanaka muri sarai makabatana chirega kuti baba havasisipo zvamamusati makaita hezvo zvotanga kurwisana vamwe vadini pakuda kuti muri muchidini mubatane musaremedza mai kuti makunetsana mazoti vana baba masirwa muri izvi rambai muchifamba nayo muchidzoredzera.
Daughter to the late PEMSEC, Mrs. Kudakwashi Chiringa Makasi, thanked the First Lady for standing with their family during this trying time. She also chronicled their father's last moments.
He was aspirating a bit and breathing yawanga isisina kumira zvakanaka. Chiremba achitongowana chingoti vakabva vaziya nawo vakatovati vachiringa ndikuona kuti maoxygen levels enyu akadzika zvakanyanya. Saka adzika zvakanyanya ndakutokuisai paoxygen tichiprocessa paperwork so that we admit you and we stabilize you tozonyatso kuzocheka kuti ndezvipi chaizvo zviri kukonzeresa. Zvadaro vachitoprocessa mapepa vachimhanya vatoadmitwa. Vana mama vachinge vakagara vakamirira visiting ya 4:30. Ndatopa phone call nesister yangu ndakufona kuti zvamabva kwaphysician hanzi chi tikutotaura. Ndakangonzwawo vakushedzwa nanesi kuti hama dzaCosmas Chiringa ndedzipi. Vakutofambawo. Fortunately I was on the call. Then that's when they passed the news that he has passed away.
Harare Provincial Coordinator, Mrs. Catherine Kampila, spoke highly of the late Permanent Secretary, highlighting that his unwavering dedication, exceptional attitude and work ethic left an indelible mark in the province.
inguva yakaoma zvishuwa nokuti mauriro azvakaita nesu kunyange vamwe vambotaurawo kuti amiri angu esi kunyatsokuita zvakanaka taingoti andiwo mafulu mabhaga ari kungopfuura zvinopfuura hatina kumbofungidzira kuti zvingatisvitse kwatasvika mazvita enyu tanzwa tiine kunyaradzwa kwatanzwa.
Also present were Harare Provincial Minister Senator Charles Tawengwa, provincial administrators, permanent secretaries from other provinces, among other government officials. Born on the 10th of December in 1960, Mr. Chiringa, a veteran of the liberation struggle, died on Monday at West End Hospital in Harare. The late Mr. Chiringa is survived by his wife and 4 children. Meanwhile, burial arrangements will be announced in due course. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Harare.
We pray that the Chiringa family continues to be comforted in these trying times. On to the next story. Government has been impressed by the work at the Gwanda-Mapisa Road, promising to facilitate the timeous release of funds for the completion of the project, which leads to the venue of this year's independence celebrations.
Works at one of the Independence Celebrations Lakers projects here in Matabeleland South are going on well, with indications that government has contracted 6 contractors to ensure that they expedite the construction of Gwanda-Mapisa Road. And we are at the Konongwe stretch, the 1.2-kilometer stretch that has been completed.
We have 6 contractors in total. We have Deflow Construction on a joint venture with Trolling. They are doing 10 kilometers. So far, they've managed to surface about 1.2 kilometers. And then outstanding on phase 1, I think we have around 6.4 kilometers. And then the other sections are on phase 2. So far, all contractors are on the ground.
The completion of this critical road will be a constant reminder to the people of Matabeleland South on the equitable infrastructure development trajectory that is being undertaken by the Second Republic.
Rome was not built in one day. In the that this region, at the Bersas, Bakuedera, or not a bad day, Mutu Anova Bridge, Anova Shavan, Anova Mering, Achia Mapis, Ukutuma Blawayo, Arjazino, a Badero Gizio, Ukona, what was so. Unama irrigation is up, but Wakori Mapalamak, Oko deserves to Narima, Kaithan.
The special advisor to the president responsible for monitoring implementation of government programs, Dr. Joram Gumbo, was on an assessment tour of the Gwanda-Mapisa Road this Wednesday, was impressed by the work that has been done so far, promising timeous release of funds for the completion of other parts.
Works have started, and that we have got people on the ground, and that what remains is that funds be released in order to assist the contractors to work on this road, if possible, 24 hours before independence. Then we'll have covered quite a lot of length on this road. The issue that those four contractors are on the road shows the seriousness of the government to make sure that this road is actually completed in time.
As part of Independence Celebrations Lakers projects, government is constructing this road, Gwanda-Mapisa Road, Vlaya Kez Road, Joshua Nkomo Vocational Training Center, Filabusi Registry, 40 science and computer laboratories across Matabeleland South, and 40 village business units across Matobo District. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
Meanwhile, the government is looking at leveraging on the growth of the local tourism industry, which culminated in Zimbabwe being crowned the best destination of the year, Natural Wonders, at the ITB Berlin in Germany last week. Our reporter Owen Mandova sat down with the Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Barbara Rodzi, who was honored as the Best African Tourism Minister for 2025.
Zimbabwe continues to bask in tourism glory due to several interventions made by government in order to reclaim the country's place on the world tourism map. And at the recently held ITB Travel Show in Berlin, held in Germany last week, the Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Barbara Rodzi, was crowned the best tourism minister in Africa. And Zimbabwe was adjudged the best destination of the year, Natural Wonders, for the year 2025. I sat down with the minister in order to establish what has really culminated into Zimbabwe being crowned this so far.
We are very, very focused about marketing our destination. We are focused about letting the world know what Zimbabwe has to offer. The way we have structured our ministry was to explicitly place people where they should be. If you look at the structure of our ministry, we have international marketing, we have domestic marketing. I mean, in terms of technical departments, who can really be able to market our country. We are seeing a number of American billionaires. By the way, America is our biggest market source now. It has surpassed the UK. American billionaires visit our destination, even if they visit in silence. But we know as Ministry of Tourism, at certain place there's Bill Gates, at certain place there's this and that. At some point in 2024, I'm sure you know, they came 18 of them. Just that. And what they experience is what they will go and preach. This is why when they come, we go and meet and greet. You know, kuvachingamidza kuti tinokudai kunyika yekwedu. Mauya maita masvika. Tovakwesha kana manga kana zvichibvira. That's the soft diplomacy we are addressing.
The minister has also indicated that the ease of doing business reforms being implemented by government in several sectors of the economy, including in tourism, are going to spur domestic tourism in order to grow the sector into a $10 billion tourism industry by the year 2030. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Closely related, Zimbabwe's premier wildlife destination, Hwange National Park, is fast emerging as a hub for meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions, MICE tourism, as it prepares to host the second Enterprise Leaders and Innovators Society for Africa Business Summit, which will be held this month.
The Elisa Business Summit reflects a broader trend in Zimbabwe's tourism sector, where destinations traditionally associated with leisure travel are beginning to attract high-level business gatherings. By combining business networking with the unique appeal of Hwange Wilderness, organizers believe the summit will strengthen Zimbabwe's profile as a destination capable of hosting global conferences in distinctive settings.
What Elisa aims to do is to bring enterprise leaders and innovators together to formulate a society that aims to nurture emerging entrepreneurs and ensure that Africa's economy is very booming and that we achieve sovereignty as a continent. It's an issue that has been arising in our journey as entrepreneurs for a couple of years now. And so what we want to do as Elisa Business Network right now is to formulate that society where entrepreneurs come together to ensure that we've got a booming economy as Africa.
The summit will attract speakers and delegates from across the globe, creating a platform for dialogue on key issues affecting the growth of African businesses. While the park is globally known for its wildlife attractions, there is growing potential for conference and business tourism.
It is about development in Zimbabwe and also about boosting tourism in Hwange.
As preparations gather pace, the event is expected to spark cross-border business collaborations and position Hwange as a rising player in Africa's MICE tourism landscape. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Hwange.
The Horticulture Recovery and Growth Plan has received a major boost after the unveiling of new hybrid varieties at Agriculture Research Trust in Harare this Wednesday.
It is a fact that for farmers, farming begins with the soil sampling and the seed that you plant determines the harvest that you reap. This was the message delivered by the Deputy Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Honorable Vangelis Artatos, during a field day hosted by a local seed house at Art Farm in Heathcliff, where he emphasized the need for farmers to exercise the best agronomic practices.
As you know, we are very strong in horticulture in Zimbabwe. Through our horticulture and development plan, we need to take the farmers that are in regions that can grow hort to the next level. Charter is partnering with us, partnering with the private sector and farmers to ensure that the varieties are available.
Farmers from different provinces and stakeholders who attended this field day appreciated the collaboration between government and seed houses to produce the best seed which promotes horticultural production in the country.
Our farmers are incredibly successful, and we are now looking for new markets for our farmers. We are working with the government. We are looking in places like Mozambique, the DRC.
Tinoda kutenda varidzi veArt Farm nevaturongera chirongwa chevecharter seeds pamwe chete nehurumende yeZimbabwe nekuti vasiri ivavo hatikwanisi kuita education 5.0 for us to attain agricultural value chain of vision 2030.
Hurumende iri kudetsera zvakanyanya nokuti tirima mavegetables nematomatoes tobva tazvidrya tadrya semadzimai tinge takunotengesa online ari madried fruits nemavegetables edu.
Several new hybrid varieties in horticulture were introduced to farmers as government targets a 70% increase in horticulture under the National Development Strategy number 2 NDS2. Tendai Munengwa, ZBC News.
In other news, youths from the World Food Programme met with the First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa at Zimbabwe House this Wednesday, where they expressed their keenness to partner her in numerous life-transforming initiatives. We get that report from Colette Msanyera.
A delegation of youths from the World Food Programme, WFP, visited the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, at Zimbabwe House this Wednesday, exploring potential collaborations in key sectors such as youth empowerment, agriculture, tourism, culture, and education. The visit aimed to strengthen partnerships and identify areas where the World Food Programme and the First Lady can work together to drive sustainable development. Dr. Mnangagwa shared her vision for empowering communities, particularly youths, through these sectors. Discussions focused on promoting sustainable agricultural practices among youths, boosting tourism, preserving cultural heritage through programs like Nanga, Gotai Kliba, and enhancing education opportunities among youths. Ms. Barbara Clements, the World Food Programme representative and country director for Zimbabwe, explained what prompted the WFP youths to visit the First Lady.
We, WFP, we're currently working on our country's strategic plan that will take us from 2027 to 2030, aligned with NDS2. And part of that, youth is cross-cutting. And not just for the sake of having youth, but for youth employment for Zimbabwe, the region, as well as the continent and beyond. And we feel that this is an opportune time when the world is distracted, challenges abound, that we can deliver something really impactful for this country as well as the continent. So this is what you see, our vision in action, that we really want to walk the talk. We don't want it just on paper. We want to have demonstration of how we engage youth in the work that we do, because we're trying to shape a future.
The World Food Programme youths who expressed their admiration for the First Lady, owing to numerous successful youth-centered projects, showed enthusiasm for the potential partnerships, citing the benefits for Zimbabwe's development.
The meeting we just had with Her Excellency today was to introduce the program called Youth Empowerment Leadership Program that has been launched by WFP Zimbabwe. So this is the first cohort of its own. So the First Lady is someone who really values the youth and whose heart beats for the youth. So in our meeting, she came in to say she's going to assist some of the youth leaders that were selected by WFP Zimbabwe.
First Lady is very passionate about young people and the participation of young people, inclusion of young people in programming, and that's actually linked to what we are doing in World Food Programme to make young people enablers and improvers of the agri-food system. So she was so passionate about talking about agri for she and First Lady's movements in the universities, just like an entry point for young people to go into. And she's very open to working with young people, which we are super excited about. And this is WFPO's commitment in reaffirming our commitment in terms of youth development, youth empowerment, and we're actually looking forward to greater projects, bigger projects with her.
We are really inspired by your strong leadership in nutrition, in agriculture, in health, and your impact through the Angel of Hope Foundation. And we humbly request to look for possible areas of collaboration, possibly around your initiatives, including Agri for She. WFP's mandate is driven to zero hunger, aligned to SDG 2, and we know that agriculture is very instrumental to that, particularly in Zimbabwe with such fertile ground. We also commend you for the Careers Expo you held held earlier this year in Chawasha. The youth are hungry for opportunities. They're talented.
One of the youths, Princess Masuku, was one of the winners at the 2022 Amai Skukot competition at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. Dr. Mnangagwa was impressed by the World Food Programme youths, commending them for their determination, focus, and ingenuity. She highlighted various initiatives she would like to collaborate on, expressing enthusiasm for partnerships that drive sustainable development and empower Zimbabwe's youths. The First Lady also encouraged the youths to share the knowledge and skills they would gain from initiatives in agriculture, tourism, environmental conservation, and cultural heritage with their peers, promoting youth-led development and empowerment.
If you see what the Ministry of Agriculture has today, with what women have done in agriculture, so they say all the traditional grains, it's all women minus youth. And they have added a lot to food security. But where are you youths? Once we've started doing that, just this group is using here, you'll find a lot of youths looking for you. Where are you? Where are you doing this? And the agriculture is for us, all of us, regardless you are in journalism or whatever.
The First Lady has been spearheading various youth-centric projects across the country's provinces, equipping young people with skills through training programs. She has also implemented initiatives like the Nanga Gota Ikliba, tailored for youths to connect with the country's rich cultural heritage. Her unquestionable love and concern for the youths is also seen in establishing the Angel of Hope Drug Rehabilitation Center in Bare, a facility symbolizing a shift from awareness to action, walking the talk in the menace against drug and substance abuse. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, that story is now up on our website. You can revisit it and any other story that we've covered so far. That is www.zbcnews.co.zw. You also have a chance to interact with us via our social media platforms. That is our X handle, Facebook, as well as YouTube pages, or under the banner ZBC News Online.
Absolutely, but still ahead on the main news this hour. Zimbabwe lines up more incentives for local and foreign investors. And in sport, Jordan Zamora likely to miss the Four Nations Invitational Tournament in Botswana after a hamstring injury. The main news continues after this break. Stay with us.
Zimbabwe's infrastructure development drive continues to gather momentum with the opening of the rehabilitated Lorraine Drive to traffic. The 3.2-kilometer stretch linking Lorraine Drive to the Westgate roundabout has been upgraded to modern highway standards, reflecting government's commitment to building durable, efficient and safe roads that improve mobility for communities and businesses. Extensive engineering works were undertaken, including excavation of up to 1.5 meters to remove expansive soils before rebuilding the road with multiple engineered layers, a cement stabilized base and asphalt surfacing capable of carrying 30-ton haulage trucks. The project also included drainage installation, works across wetland streams and the construction of 12 bus bays with shelters, seating and refuse bins to improve commuter convenience. Lorraine Drive now stands as a model modern road whose standards will be duplicated across the national road network. Under the leadership of His Excellency President Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, Zimbabwe is modernizing its infrastructure to become a premier regional logistics hub. Ministry of Transport and Infrastructural Development, building Zimbabwe kilometer by kilometer.
Every day, millions of moments travel through the air. A call home, a payment made, a lesson learned, a life saved. But behind each moment is something steady, something quiet, unseen, unshaken, powering connection, supporting lives. This is Econet Infraco, Zimbabwe's largest private infrastructure group, comprising towers, power, and real estate. We build and operate the essential systems that hold the country together with scale, certainty, and purpose. We bring together three powerful engines of progress under one roof. Towers that carry the signal, clean energy that keeps it alive, and foundations that hold it all in one place. Because behind every connection, every transaction, every step forward, there's a quiet force. Econet Infraco, built for resilience, designed for growth.
Every day, Africa's financial institutions protect something priceless: trust. Trust to move money safely, keep economies running, and support customers whenever they need it. But the landscape is shifting. Security threats are rising, regulations are tougher, and customers' expectations are higher. Downtime is simply not an option. That's why financial institutions need infrastructure that is secure, resilient, and built to scale. Liquid Intelligent Technologies powers Africa's financial sector to operate safely, efficiently, and without interruption. From branches to data centers and the cloud, we deliver mission-critical connectivity with 24/7 operations that detect threats early. With world-class data centers and continent-wide disaster recovery, Liquid keeps services online at all times. Our network drives fast, secure transactions so banks and fintechs can serve customers instantly. We build the digital foundation for Africa's financial future.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching the main news here on ZBC. We now look at women inspiration as we celebrate Women's History Month. Zimbabwe takes pride in grooming leaders who make a huge impact beyond the country's borders. A Zimbabwean entrepreneur and founder of Jera Trust, Miss Alice Tagwira, has united like-minded women to promote social change in their communities with a mission to inspire a generation of African women to discover and live their purpose.
When women uplift each other, they move mountains, they rise against adversity, and they shine. Through community outreaches and other media platforms, stories of women who have risen against their challenges and have shined in communities are being told.
We have programs in Rugare, we have programs in Epworth, and we are trying to make women understand that action is not only about the constitutional mandate, but they also have to take action when it comes to achieving their rights.
From entrepreneurs, students and activists, these remarkable women share their messages of hope and resilience with their sisters across the continent.
I'm Swati Patil, the Indian Afro music artist and actress from Zambia. Let us create a world where every woman is treated equally and fairly. Let us uplift and support each other despite the barriers of boundaries.
I just want to wish all the ladies out there a happy International Women's Month. Let's ensure we're taking action in providing justice and equal rights for women and girls around the world.
As we celebrate Women's History Month in Zimbabwe and beyond, with courage and determination, you can achieve your dreams. Joyce Mabika, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, still on the note of celebrating women, their participation in the justice delivery system has been cited as essential in order to ensure courts reflect the societies they serve, address diverse concerns and deliver fair judgments. Now, this comes as the world commemorated the International Day of Women Judges on the sidelines of the ongoing Commission on the Status of Women in New York.
Rights, justice and action for all women and girls, which is this year's CSW theme, resonates well with the commemorations as female judges bring a diverse perspective and experience to the judiciary system.
Access to justice is essential for the rule of law and the full realization of women's and girls' rights, human rights.
Based on the growing representation of women in law schools,
faculties, and the overall justice sector, the next generation of legal professionals will be the most gender-balanced institution.
The Deputy Executive Director in the UN Women, Dr. Nyaradzayi Gumbunzanda, noted the critical role played by female judges in strengthening judiciary service systems and quick response to crime cases.
I want to congratulate and appreciate both Zimbabwe and Kenya for the victim-friendly courts that you have. These are mechanisms and instruments that are delivering for women when they want to access justice. The composition of within the courtroom, from the judge on the bench, the prosecutor, the interpreter, the officers, the police officers manning the space, it makes a difference.
Zimbabwe has made significant strides in the judiciary service, with women appointed in key positions, including the Attorney General and the Prosecutor General.
Zimbabwe has also developed and implemented the National Women in Leadership and Decision-Making Strategy to increase women's participation in decision-making roles. The Judicial Service Commission in our country plays a critical constitutional role in promoting the appointment of women judges by actively implementing gender-sensitive recruitment processes.
Female judges continue to play critical roles in advancing human rights, in particular cases to do with gender-based violence, discrimination, and protection of vulnerable groups. Their roles now go beyond adjudication, as they now serve as mentors, advocates, and champions for justice in their communities. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, New York.
The government is moving with speed to integrate artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies within the Zimbabwe Defense Forces in order to enhance its operational efficiency.
In line with global trends in defense modernization, continuous capacitation of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, ZDF, by responding to its immediate operational and technological needs is a priority for government. This follows the induction of a 7-member Defense Forces Service Commission in Kadoma this Wednesday. Public Service Commission's chairperson, Dr. Vincent Wungwe, underscored the importance of embracing emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, to strengthen defense systems and enhance operational readiness of the country's security forces.
In the future, artificial intelligence are going to be the hallmarks of how institutions become more efficient, become more cost-effective, they become more equitable in the way they deliver development dividends in an inclusive and sustainable manner without leaving anyone or any place behind.
Commissioners say now the onus is now on them to ensure that Zimbabwe Defense Forces is well equipped, especially in the wake of ongoing geopolitical situations.
Ngoba lokhu kuqhakathekile ukuze nxa kulento ezifunekayo kumbe ezihluphayo kumabutho ezizabikwa kithi ukuthi sizihlolisise sibe lolwazi lokuthi kanti vele sikuhambisa kanjani khona lokho lokuthi kumele sikwenze njani sizikhangele kanjani lezo zinto eziyabe zibikelwe thina i-commission.
The Defense Forces Service Commission is chaired by the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, Dr. Vincent Wungwe. Other members of the commission include Commissioner Patricia Sara Bwerinofa, Commissioner Sheila Maere Nyagumbo, Commissioner A. Commodore retired Clopas Muronga Zombo, Commissioner retired Keneo OK Mabena, Commissioner Keneo retired Mavis Gonde, and Commissioner Pedi Magoba. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Kadoma.
Let's take a look at what's happening in the courts. A 25-year-old woman from Harare has been sentenced to 240 hours of community service after being convicted of cyberbullying and denigrating a local businesswoman, Zodwa Mkandla, through a social media post.
Princess Piri, aged 25, was convicted of cyberbullying after she posted a video on TikTok in which she insulted Zodwa Mkandla using offensive language. In the video, Piri allegedly called Mkandla a prostitute, and the court ruled that the video was intended to intimidate, threaten, humiliate, and cause emotional distress to the complainant. In the same video, Piri also insulted and threatened Mkandla's child using offensive language. Piri was sentenced to 12 months in prison during a court appearance this Wednesday, with 6 months suspended on condition that she does not commit the same offense in the next 5 years. The other 6 months was commuted to 240 hours of community service. Pava Makona, ZBC News, Harare.
We take a quick break. Thereafter, we'll look at business news. Stay with us.
I was hoping just to get in a hello, but Daniel beat me to it. You know what, he caught the dub, but little did the boy know he was about to catch an L.
Dibs!
At CBZ Bank, we understand the unique challenges and needs of those in the mining sector. So we offer a comprehensive suite of financial services tailored specifically for this sector. Our lease finance scheme lets you easily acquire heavy mining equipment without breaking the bank. And with value chain financing, we help streamline your operations by providing funds for input suppliers and buyers within your supply chain. Need extra cash flow? Our overdraft facilities are here to help bridge any gaps in capital while you wait on payments from clients or investors. But that's not all. We also provide insurance services to protect against unexpected events that could disrupt your business, risk advisory and financial advisory services to ensure wise investments and strategic planning. CBZ Bank is committed to helping you succeed in the dynamic mining world. Trust us to be your partner every step of the way. CBZ Bank, partners for success.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come.
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Welcome back. We now look at business, where Zimbabwe has lined up more incentives for local and foreign investors as the government seeks to position the country's economy as an attractive destination for business.
Zimbabwe boasts of vast, richer natural resources, a skilled human capital base, including a richer biodiversity, among other key economic indicators. Riding on such gains, economic decision makers, development partners, the private sector, and the government held discussions this Wednesday on what is needed to ensure that the country continues to attract more investments on the local as well as external front.
What you have to be focused on is the dollars that are being generated. For instance, ZimWorks, 100% of every dollar is import, and that's what countries need.
Authorities are also seeing several opportunities for the project's uptake, especially at a time when the government of Zimbabwe is now focusing on value addition and beneficiation of raw mineral commodities.
Our team has worked very hard to streamline and digitize processes within the agency, and investors don't struggle with paperwork.
But what are some of these key incentives are aimed at attracting investors, and to what extent can they help the government in terms of ensuring that most of the projects are implemented?
These incentives pertain to the location of the business in the first place. A whole building can be designated as a special economic zone. So we're basically using the special economic zone incentives to support this new emerging economy, this new sector. Also, the company that is operating within that building is then also accorded special economic zone type incentives. This involves a lower corporate tax rate from 25% down to 15%.
As more incentives are being lined up, what is now needed is for the investors to take advantage of such interventions by setting up projects across the country. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
From our business news, we move straight to our arts and entertainment, where internationally acclaimed American gospel musicians Naomi Raine and Todd Galbraith are in Zimbabwe ahead of their highly anticipated worship concert set for the Harare International Conference Center on Friday.
The concert, which is expected to attract thousands of gospel music lovers, forms part of a series of international performances across Europe and Africa. On arrival, the American duo expressed desire to create a worship experience where people can freely encounter God.
People come in with expectation, and again, it is a concert, but I feel like the way God has been moving, we've just kind of been just free flowing into that worship river, and just God has been, every city has been different. I expect the same here in Zimbabwe.
For Naomi Raine, the visit marks a return to a country that left a lasting impression during a previous tour.
My first time here was amazing. The night was amazing, but it was really just beautiful. Like, there was peace the whole time I was here.
The two musicians recently collaborated on the song Everywhere, which has been embraced by gospel audiences around the world. Their concert is expected to bring together worshippers from different churches and communities for an evening of praise, music, and spiritual reflection. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
Anasha will be bringing us sports straight after this.
Applications are invited for an apprenticeship training program with the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation at Montrose Studios, Bulawayo. The training program will be in the Engineering Broadcasting Technology Department, commencing April 2026. The applicable trade is in radio communication systems as technicians. Ideal candidates should satisfy the following minimum requirements and submit: a minimum of 5 O-level subjects including mathematics, English language and science with grades B or better. Preference will be given to applicants with higher educational qualifications. At least 2 A-level passes will be an added advantage. Clearance letter from the Apprenticeship and Skilled Manpower Board. Certified copies of national ID, birth certificate and educational certificates. Be aged between 16 and 23 years by the 31st of March 2026. Closing date is the 12th of March 2026. Applications and CVs together with certified copies of the above requirements must be submitted onto our ZBC job application portal, or alternatively submit applications to students at zbc.co.zw or physical applications at any of our TV and radio studios.
Some things don't arrive. They've always been. Not for a day, for all of time. Until quietly something shifts. Moving from someday to now. Women are not honored in time. They are woven through it, shaping every story, every voice, every breath. We are because she is, and because tomorrow they will be.
Welcome to the Sports Corner. Anna Shambrombed's here with the latest in the world of sport. Now, Zimbabwean international Jordan Zemura is likely to miss the Four Nations Invitational Tournament in Botswana at the end of this month after his Italian club Udinese confirmed that the utility player suffered a hamstring injury. Zemura picked the injury during the final training session ahead of Udinese's Serie A match against Atalanta on Saturday. In a medical update, the club confirmed Zemura sustained a hamstring problem and will be reassessed after a couple of weeks, casting doubt over his availability for the upcoming international assignment. Zemura was expected to play a key role for the Warriors at the tournament scheduled for the 23rd to 31st of this month in Francistown, Botswana. Zimbabwe will battle it up against regional rivals Zambia, Botswana, and Malawi. The tournament is expected to give the Warriors a technical department opportunity to work on combinations ahead of upcoming competitive assignments. Now, the Gasolaga Premier Soccer League PSL clubs have taken advantage of the recent increase in the foreign quota to bolster their squads with the domestic league now proving to be a lucrative destination for foreign players.
The new foreign quota has given clubs an opportunity to go all out in the transfer market, hunting for foreign talent to reinforce their squads. PSL clubs were restricted to 5 players, but the top flight has increased the number to 8 this season. Dynamos has been one of the most active clubs in the transfer market, signing a number of foreign players including DR Congo midfielder Isaac Landu and Malawian forward Stanley Billiard. Adding the flair at the Glamour Boys are Malawian goalkeeper Elias Missy, Ghanaian Frank Ajeman, Felix Hammond and Christopher Nakai Neti, along with Zambian goalkeeper Sitali Nyambe. 4-time champions FC Platinum have also made some strategic signings, including Namibian striker Mbakoja Chikika, Ghanaian forward Emmanuel Dogbe, and Cameroonian goalkeeper Manfred Ekoy. Caps United have also joined the fray with Ghanaian goalkeeper Stephen Odai Kwaku, who was the #1 choice last season, and Zambian defender Chinga Chitoshi, being joined by Malawian striker Lloyd Njaliwa and Chawanangwa Kaongal. Chicken have also roped in foreign talent, including Kenyan striker Nicholas Kiprui, Malawian striker Binwo Katinji, and Cameroon midfielder Gnoa Hapmo. The new additions are expected to boost Chicken Inn's chances in the Premier Soccer League, given coach Tondela Ndiraya's more option to achieve success. Newly promoted side Hard Rock strengthened their squad with a trio of international recruits in Zambian striker Andrew Piri, Eswatini midfielder Neliswa Dlamini, fellow Eswatini forward Sambunulo Semelane. Defending champion Scotland, who have a bigger task ahead, including taking part in the CAF Champions League, have added Isaac Mohammed, left-back Kwake Twala from Eswatini, Kenyan centre-back Joshua Onyango, and Namibian striker Isaac Gururab to their foreign contingent, which already featured Malawian striker Akuda Ike Nyaba and Namibian midfielder Moses Shidolo.
Well, it was a disappointing early morning this Wednesday for the Lady Chevron, the Zimbabwe cricket team for the women's side, as they ended their New Zealand tour on a disappointing note, losing the series by 2-0. Batting first, New Zealand, who completed a 3-0 series whitewash, posted an imposing 303 for the loss of 6 wickets. Amelia Kiara led the charge with a stunning 80 off 106 balls, with Maddie Green further cementing the dominance with a 94 from 73 deliveries, hitting 12 boundaries in the process. Zimbabwe found the going tough in their chase and were bowled out of 103 in 27.1 overs.
The Lady Chevron's innings was marked by lack of momentum, with only Lauren Chuma scoring 34 runs to offer some form of resistance. Kieri's exceptional leg spinner proved too much for the Zimbabwe batters, claiming 5 wickets, including a hat-trick. The Lady Chevrons lose the caps over a tough series for Zimbabwe, who will look to regroup and focus on ICC championship matches. Anna Shemrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
The 2026 Bonagwa Africa Triathlon Cup and a Multi-Sport Festival is set to electrify Troutberg Resort in Nyanga this weekend, with elite athletes from around the globe converging in Zimbabwe. The event is set to attract 33 elite athletes from 12 different countries, with Zimbabwe's Andy Coopers returning for this year's event after missing the 2025 edition. Events director Rick Fulton is confident of hosting a successful event.
I'm happy to say that we unloaded all of the equipment in very, very wet, rainy conditions. It was very cold and windy, and we started Monday, Tuesday in the same conditions, but we're well ahead of schedule, believe it or not. And today it is bright, warm, and very sunny. So I hope we've broken the back of the weather, certainly so that we can finish what we're doing from an operational perspective and make sure that the venue and the courses are all ready for the athletes who start arriving as of tonight. Some of the internationals are coming in tonight because they landed earlier than others, and the bulk and the remainder will all be coming in tomorrow. So they'll all be on site by Thursday evening. We are expecting a total of, I think it's 33 elite athletes from 12 or 13 different nationalities, different countries around the world, including Africa. So we've got a nice quality elite field.
Bonagwa Africa Triathlon Events Director there, Rick Fulton, who was giving us an unknown update ahead of the event. That's it from the Sports Corner. Let's take a look at the weather.
A pleasant evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope I find you well. Looking at some of the rainfall that we had, it was mostly over the eastern parts of the country, where areas such as Chiseng, we had 43 millimeters, Bikita 33, Rusape 24, and Sabi Valley had about 22 millimeters. This was because of a cloud system that is now over the eastern parts of the country, exiting over into Mozambique. This is the system currently there over the eastern parts, but we're expecting a cooling southeasterly to affect the southern parts, giving us a bit of light rain and drizzle over those southern parts. But for today, we had more of the cloudy conditions over much of the country, with cooler conditions over the southern parts of the main watershed. That's areas such as Matabeleland south into Masvingo, as well as Manicaland, including the southern parts of the Midlands. We still urge you not to cross any flooded rivers, as these heavy downpours can cause flooding downstream. So as we get into tomorrow, we're expecting more of those rainfalls over the southern parts of the country, entering into the interior of the country as we get into Friday, and also affecting the western parts as we get into the weekend. So we're still expecting a bit of rain showers across board. Some of the cloudiness is over the southern parts. We were expecting it to be slightly cooler, with a few 14s along the main watershed. Also by afternoon, we're still expecting a few teens in areas such as Gwanda into Masvingo, as well as parts of Mutare. For Bulawayo, we're expecting a maximum of 21, going into 18, 19 for Matopo as we get into Friday, but it warms up into the weekend. And we're expecting Gwanda to also follow suit with a cooler Thursday, but it also warms up as we get into the weekend, with Gweru projected to be at 16 for Thursday, but it goes up to 20 on Saturday. 17 is our maximum for Masvingo, also warming into the weekend, whilst Mutare is at 18 for tomorrow, going to 20 as we get into Saturday. Nyanga starting off at 17, also fluctuating into the weekend, whilst Marondera is at 19 for tomorrow. It warms up to about 22 as we get into Saturday and Sunday. Harare also following suit with a few 22s from Friday, whilst Kadoma is at 25 from Friday, warming into the weekend. 23 is our maximum for Chinoy for tomorrow, but it also warms up into the weekend with a maximum of 27 predicted for Saturday. For Victoria Falls, it's 26 for Thursday, cooling slightly on Friday. But for Lupane, it's 25s for both Thursday and Friday, only warming up into the weekend. For Bindura, we're expecting a maximum of 23, warms up to 26 on Friday, whilst Kariba is at 28 for both Thursday and Friday, and warms up into Thursday. As these cooling winds are projected for the next few days, we urge you to please keep warm and also ensure that you don't cross any flooded rivers that might be in your area or even in an area that you're visiting. That's it from the weather desk. It's back to the news.
That weather report concludes the main news for this evening. Thank you for watching. I am Mona Lisa Dube.
And my name is Malvin Matawa. Piswe Jomunyika was giving us the bulletin in sign language. We're back tomorrow, same time, God willing. Good night.
Good night.